What's on the menu? Porn in school? And outside Melissa's box. Ding! All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do, 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 do.
I am so excited for the return of your box and all that resides outside it.
My box never left. Hello, Amy. How are you?
I am very, very, very great. How are you, Melissa?
I would think that after very, 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 you would say tired.
Yeah. I give up on tired. Well, the good news is
I gave up on tired. Wait, that's an option? Tired? Fuck you.
Well,
I'm done.
I almost hate to even reference 2020 and the eons that it contains. I had lived so much of my life past the point of exhaustion that when 2020 hit, it helped me realize you're not required to remain in that state. And there is another state, which is not total beyond levels of no gas in the tank exhaustion, the point of no return. So prior to heading out of town, I did head out of town for a delightful, very long weekend, which was crazy great. I did my usual, which is to push myself past the point of exhaustion, point of no return, to accomplish all that was required so that I could go. And then slammed the brakes on hard and did the relaxy taxi and got to just be relaxed for the entire, physically relaxed. I didn't bring technology. I didn't open it. I didn't use it. I frequently would forget where my phone was. I don't have pictures, which is the only sadness. So I shut all of my life down and all of the other requirements down. And that is why I feel so great and relaxed, even though, yeah, it was a lot of travel and it was a lot of go different places. And there was some heavy, really heart-connected stuff that makes your heart grow 8 sizes too wide. And then also a little bit of sadness with people dealing with things. So, there was a lot. It was super saturation in all the ways, but none of them felt like I'm also running a marathon and in a marathon that I have no chance of even participating in, but I'm somehow can't get out of.
I'm going to need one story from your trip. But first I will tell you that I was on, dear listener, a piece of Amy's whirlwind trip. And the piece that I was on, I drove to Connecticut 4.5 hours on a Thursday, and I drove home on a Friday. So
you're kind of getting the sense of this trip.
It was a lot. But when you have people in your life that for you are a plug-in battery recharger, you must make the choice.
It's your ride or die. Yeah.
Especially when your bandwidth is just no longer visible or functional to recharge. And when you have, people who play that role, you got to do the drive. I drove all the way to Connecticut at record speeds.
Good
dear
for
Waze.
You. Good for you.
Dear Waze, thank you so much for alerting me to those 2 police officers that would have had me imprisoned for Amy's full stay in Connecticut and Rhode Island. I follow Waze like she's the Bible.
Yes.
And I'm a Christian.
Oh, okay.
Right.
One of those.
So Waze says exit here. Mm-hmm. And I look up and those big green signs that have this lane does this lane takes to this highway. The big green sign isn't green. The big green sign is red. And it says, this exit closed. It even says below it, cerrado, if I only spoke Spanish.
No toilet.
So I didn't need the toilet. Well, I did, but I needed to follow these directions not to get stuck in traffic and get fucking home. So it says, do not exit here. And Waze says, exit here. And I'm like, you guys need to talk because I don't know what to do now.
I thought you knew this stuff. I thought they had to go through you Waze before they put up the traffic sign.
Right? Don't they? Right. So as I'm looking at it and all the traffic on the left where I'm supposed to go or where it's redirecting me is stopped. There. It's just brake lights for hundreds of miles. tiny exaggeration.
Quick diversion.
I exit.
Quick diversion. Back in the day when I was a terrible dickhead in traffic, I used to drive a lot of traffic up and down the South Philly corridor back and forth from Delaware going to jobs. They had lane closures and you had to merge. And I was a super dick leaning on the horn. Let me in. I'm getting over, acting like a total asshole. And the guy finally lets me over and his arms up in the shrug gesture staring at me until I realized that it wasn't a lane closure. There was nowhere else for anyone to go. And all I was doing was cutting him off. So I was acting like a total ass.
Do you still drive like that?
Sweet. No, but I was leaning on the horn and it was the kind of thing where there was no reason for me to be acting like such an asshole in this whole way. And he sort of looked at me like, do you get it now? Do you get why you're such an asshole? And I was like, I do get it. That was my final moment. He shamed me out of my South Philly rage. Did you have
it?
Yes. Did you have South Philly rage when you were presented with this red no intro, no regato?
I was panicked.
Domo,
I didn't have
Mr.
rage.
Regato? I don't
drive with rage ever since that one guy shot through a car to a woman and hit her in the belly and killed her. I think everybody's got a. I think everybody's got a gun in their car.
You're
and,
weak.
And I loser, and I don't have rage anymore.
Oh, come on.
So I pull off.
Really don't, but I mean,
I pull off anyway, even though it says the road is closed. And as I'm
What?
exiting that ramp,
What?
right, as I'm not a rule follower.
Are
As
you
I
in a
exit
Hollywood
that ramp,
movie? You know
on
what?
the
They
side-
never finished that overpass. Keanu
on the
Reeves has got to come for you. What are
I'm
you
not
doing?
the only car doing it. I'm not on my own. So on the side where there's cement that keeps you from falling off to the road below, and the metal girders that hang over the cement, all of the metal girders are off.
You are
And
in Hollywood.
There are 6 emergency vehicles and 15 men in uniform looking over where the girders were and
my
just the cement is,
God.
like scratching their head and their testicles saying, how the fuck did that happen? And I just drove by them and had no traffic whatsoever, and I kept going. And then I thought, somebody obviously
is dead and dismembered.
But I'm going to make it home to get to the toilet.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't
Somebody-
even understand what just happened.
Somebody
You are a
jumped at-
fucking vagabond vigilante.
I was a savage. I was like, I'm going. And it's like almost like there's a roadblock and I went around it just to get home to a toilet.
Here's my question for you. Here's the real topic here.
Yeah.
How does Waze have such authority
It
over
just
your life?
happened.
Over
Oh,
your life. You're like,
trust
this is
her.
it. There's a bubbling lava pit and Waze says drive through it and you say gun it. Here we go.
Have you ever not followed her directions?
Of course.
And then
How can you ask that question? I'm sorry. Hang on. Hi, I'm Amy. I'd like to meet you for the first time. Yes, I don't follow those instructions.
When
Even
she
when I
sends
choose to follow
directions-
them, I don't follow them.
When she gives directions and I don't follow them, I am always sorry. So I listen to everything she says. From then on, I will not do anything off her plans. She knows what she's talking about, and she got me through that. I could have been sitting there for 4 hours as they tried to peel a body in a car, and
There's so much about this that I have to unpack that I don't understand. You drove through a crime scene,
that's what I did.
an active crime scene,
Just happened, yes.
to save yourself traffic time.
Yeah.
Also evading law enforcement
Yeah. Keep going.
who were at the crime scene
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
drove through because your computer phone told you to.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I hope the
and-
computer phone doesn't say rise in the middle of the night with a knife. Walk
Well, if
to
she
the
did,
second
I would
floor.
listen. Also, that means that the next at least 20 miles that I'm driving, there will be no authorities because they are literally all standing at that
This bone connected to
overpass,
the pavement.
scratching their heads going, how
You're
the fuck
awful.
did she do that?
Oh my stars.
And I was closer. I also talked to a girlfriend on the phone for the majority of that 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
And she made it go so much faster.
Oh,
I
very
usually,
good,
on the
very
way
good,
up,
very
I
good.
listen to music, sometimes a podcast, sometimes an audible book.
Yes.
This one human talked me through, tell me what you see now. Is there the best places? Ooh, we started to write a book called Oh, the Places You Can Poop.
Perfect.
And I am
only has
so
3 chapters.
I am so excited. It's kind of like a list book, but it's great for the holidays. So give it to ones you love. We will be getting that out for next year for the holidays.
I like it.
And hopefully, we'll still be here to promote it.
I'll write the forward. I love it.
I got a great opportunity to see some of my nearest and dearest. Sadly, I did not get to see them all because my portion of your trip was cut short by heading down to the shore house to meet the builder and all of that stuff. And you continued on to Newport, Rhode Island.
I did. It's actually the whole purpose of this trip was to come up for a 50th birthday from my sweet, sweet friend Tom. And that conversation, which was just going to be a weekend at as we frequently say, I'll repeat it again, with this crew, we usually pick a city, pick a hotel, and that's it. That's the bulk of the visit. The point is to be somewhere seated, laughing, usually rolling on the floor for the duration. And we do better when we pick places that don't have a lot going on because you don't feel like you're missing it because you're not going to go do it. So this all was predicated on it's a 50th birthday. For proximity reasons, let's all go to Rhode Island. There's some things there to see. We have a nice meal, whatever. Let's do it. We get a cute Airbnb. It'll be delightful.
I have to tell you how outside my box this was. I have truly spent, 2 years. I have truly spent not seeing people, not doing anything, not traveling, not being near. And this was outside my box, going and being in gen pop places like, restaurants, which were not crowded. I'm going to admit. We were the only people in Erin's restaurant when we ate all of her tacos.
Well, it was a private event, so it was invited only, and there was like the mayor. So, I mean, you have a different comfort level.
When I was there. When I was there. So it was a private event because it was just us, probably prior to opening. But we ate everything that their restaurant offered, and it really was for me to go anywhere completely outside my box. And again, the only reason that I could muster anything was because you have to have humans in your life who are your batteries and who are your cables to recharge. And if you don't have it in the form of people, have it in the form of something. I am curious, dear listener, if there is something that recharges your battery. Is it a vacation to Florida? Is it a special property somewhere where you can unplug and not be a part of society? I would love to hear what you use to recharge. Please write us at brilliantobservations@gmail.com or just type it right onto that fancy Facebook, Brilliant Observations or Brillobs Squad, or find us on Instagram or Twitter at Listen Brilliant and use your thumbs and tell us, what do you do to recharge yourself?
You're asking me what I do to recharge myself. It is absolutely people. And that's part of the reason that it was interesting. You have mentioned, and really only in broad strokes, how much it took for you to get there. Every single one of us had a private moment where we looked each other in the face and said, you know what? On Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday night, when my flight is leaving at 5:30 in the morning, the next morning on Thursday, I looked around and said, I cannot go on this thing.
I can't do this.
I have to not go. All of us had our very legitimate reasons of I cannot go. And they were big and weighty and heavy reasons of why I cannot go. And we still all decided, and yet I can't not go. So that, when you talk about recharge, these are the friendships that we would love to in some way inspire, help you participate in, remind you that you've had, or give you the idea that they're still out there waiting for you, or even on some level, like pantomime with you here. Be a kind of little model for you here in our
We're willing to be those friends to you.
In our pretend relationship with you because it's so one-sided because because you're not here with us right now. You're listening after the fact. That's what I mean. So yeah, these are the relationships that absolutely are the blood in my veins. They are the thing pumping through my heart and keeping me going. So it was an absolutely yes. Brian?
It is crazy. And it was a wonderful escape, even for me, if it was only 24 hours and a weird, driving nightmare. But I have to say what I was escaping from here, not personal, but was the other night we had a school board meeting. And at the school board meeting, I feel like I live in the semi-Northeast and there's a more I was going to say enlightened, but I'm going to take it back to fewer people mind critical race theory being taught because A, it's not, and B, they know it's not, and C, shut up,
not. Yeah.
and D, if they tell you to wear a mask, wear a fucking mask. Like, there's fewer people as you go further north who are like, I have rights. Like, it's just a, maybe I'm sure I'll cut this out. Nonetheless, I want to say, I don't expect at my school board meeting that people are going to protest imaginary elves that live on shelves. Like, it's not really a thing. So we have real things to worry about. Let's talk about them. Our cases are rising. We no longer separate 6 feet. We do 3 feet. Like, we have things. We are still masked in school. So somebody stands up and he says, how could you do this to our children? They are only hindered when they're in school. These are innocents and their families don't approve. Okay. All right, stuff it in your pocket. It's all during a public comment at the very end where the school board doesn't answer. It's just people's chance to vent. Well, it seems we have a fabulous progressive librarian at our high school.
Okay.
And she might be doing the ordering for middle school also, because there is a book in the library at our high school called All Boys Aren't or Are Blue. Now, I cannot shout loud enough from a high enough surface to share that representation is more than important. It is everything. You are raising children and you need them to not feel like foreigners, stranger in a strange land. You need them to not feel like aliens and to express themselves and to be represented in the world. When the Eternals came out and there was a deaf Eternal, what do you think the deaf community did? Do you think they said, so what? Or do you think they said, oh my God, we are represented as a fucking superhero? It's amazing to see you represented in the world, especially in a positive way. Well, it seems there's a book in our library that represents gay teens, maybe even black gay teens. So a parent who already screamed about masks and critical race theory and everything else, which is wildly irrelevant, starts reading. You get 3 minutes of comment, starts reading 3 minutes of porn at our school board meeting.
You have a middle school book about black gay porn?
Yeah, I think it was from the high school, but yes, it could go to the middle school. If a middle schooler wants it, they can request it. It'll go there.
Why? Why is there porn at school?
It's a coming of age book.
Yeah, it is.
But I've never heard anybody read or object to the coming of age ones for straight teens because they're definitely in the library. And
what are you talking? It's like Henry Miller level.
Keep going. No, it was. Dear listener, you can find it on YouTube.
No.
He was reading it.
If you roll up here with the title of the book and mention that it talks about porn and we already have an illicit rating and you choose not to reveal the porn, I smite you.
No, I don't have it. Well, I'll tell you where you can find it.
I can find it right now, and you can cut out the dead air. I'm going to actually look for the porn.
She never does this. She never searches anything.
I don't even, would you call it All Boys Are Blue?
Aren't blue, maybe.
All right.
And it just talks about first gay experiences. I got this. It talks about first gay experience. It talks about being attracted. It talks about even the logistics of it and how awkward and how his front was on my back and he's reading 3 minutes during this meeting. And I mean, it was kind of great and kind of shocking all at the same time because I couldn't see the school board's faces because this was on a Zoom. And I thought, is this really what's happening right now? Then the next person followed him and they read the next 3 minutes of this book. And I thought, you guys are obsessed. Your kids have 2 choices. 1, to check it out and get turned on and excited by it. Or 2, had to have nothing to do with it. Why is this? Nobody would have known about this book, or 10 people would have known if they did not bring it to a school board meeting and read 6 full minutes of it.
Okay.
Would you have it?
First of all, you're completely right. So, would you like to? Would you like that as a drop?
Wait, and the age range is 14 to 18. This book is written for these kids to go ahead. Sorry.
So it was difficult for me to do the search because I can't not listen to you when you're talking. So I prioritized that, and my brain didn't do the world's best search. I found on Goodreads, which tells me a little bit about the book and shows that it has 16,000 plus almost 5-star ratings. It has a 4.28 rating and better than 3,000 actual reviews. The book cover is stunningly gorgeous. It's an illustration of a black man boy with this crazy flower headdress.
You said man boy.
Well, he's like a man boy. And I'm not going to do that right now. In a series of personal essays, prominent journalist and LGBTQIA+ activist George M. Johnson explores his childhood, adolescence, and college years in New Jersey and Virginia. From the memories of getting his teeth kicked out by bullies at age 5 to flea marketing with his loving grandmother to his first sexual relationships, this young adult memoir weaves together the tales and triumphs faced by black queer boys, both a primer for teens eager to be allies, as well as a reassuring testimony for young queer men of color. All Boys Aren't Blue covers topics such as gender identity, toxic masculinity, brotherhood family, structural marginalization, consent, and black joy. Boom. Johnson's emotionally frank style of writing will appeal directly to young adults. So you can suck my whole ass crack, is what I'm saying. I'm down. I love it.
Right? It sounded like, oh my God, keep reading. And wait, what are you doing in front of the school board? And he said, do you want me to go on? And I thought, yes, please go on. Of course I want more. I live for this shit. This is exactly what, I've taken the subway 1,000 billion jillion times.
Huh?
I used to live in Manhattan. So a bajillion, kagillion times. And I have looked across from me while sitting down on that commute and seen somebody who was reading erotica. And I have literally watched their face turn from white to pink to fire engine red and then look up from their book to see who was watching them, make eye contact with me. And all I did was nod at a girl. Like, I am a huge fan both of literature, both of expressing all of these memoirs. It's a memoir, these essays, and again, representation. 99.9% of this stuff is hetero. Half of it's crap, but hetero. I can't see myself really to do this. It's a service he's doing. And our librarian for identifying this, buying this book and stocking it in our library was doing God's work. Bring it, crazy man. Amen. From the school board meeting.
Hey, fucking man. So even out of context, it must have, you sat there and listened to this, right?
I sure did. I loved it.
Even out of context, were you getting something that this is...
Warm? I was getting warm. Yeah. Is that what you're asking?
No. What I'm truly asking as an actual question.
Yeah.
Completely out of context, which was his intent.
Yes.
In presenting it in this way.
Yes. Goal was to shock.
Yes. He had an agenda, as is the favorite word, lobbed at us so frequently.
Yeah.
Right? Even in that context, could you get from the language used that this was not designed simply to sexually stimulate?
Porn? Yes.
That this
absolutely.
this was a work of writing, I want to call it fiction, but it's not. It's a memoir.
It's art. It was really art because the way he described it was
storytelling.
I don't know what to do. This is my first experience. I don't know what to think because everything he had seen before was on TV and very heteronormative and
of course, this is the emotional angle of our bodies ourselves. This is somebody talking through which doesn't get shared.
Yes,
This is taking a hidden, truly closeted moment and making it accessible for people who need that conversation. Do you know how many first-time conversations we have, all good and all totally destructive and everything in between, about first-time sexual experiences for kids? How many of us have seen, Fast Times at Ridgemont High? I hated that fucking movie. And it's sickening and gross to me to even watch it because what's captured in that film is a lot of uncomfortable, uneasy, frankly, probably sexual predatory behavior happening, one to the other and the back and forth, all the stuff that gets navigated in good ways and not so good ways.
He talked about, afterwards, never having done this before, how it felt and how like being sore and wondering if that's how all of the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts, the doubts, all of those came out. It was beautifully written. And it's kind of like somebody reading you Shakespeare, like from Brooklyn in a choppy, is it a lark? No, it wasn't a lark. It was the nightingale. It was like, wait,
to
what?
Be or
right?
Not to be?
I don't know. Be like it just.
That's the question.
And even with that, the writing was strong enough for me to be like, oh, this poor kid. Oh my God! In this middle school, high school, there are children who will really benefit from reading and knowing, A, I'm not alone. B, oh, that is a way it could feel if this situation. I'm just thrilled with the librarian for stocking that library. And I was shocked by this jackass who got up there to read it and a little, titillated by what he read.
I have more questions than I have answers. What kind of children does this person have, female or male? How did this awareness of this book come into his purview, if not for having it come home or come home to the dinner table conversation, which kind of is the purpose of this book? You remember that people said this is good for kids who want to be allies. So if the conversation came home and it wasn't directly, I need this book for me, then maybe it was, I can't believe this book is making the rounds because I'm shocked and scared by it. It's too much for me. I don't like it. I don't know what to do. And the table conversation should turn into, well, let's figure out what that's like. There's lots of, sexuality is a very big place. It means a lot of things for different people. What does that book really mean? Who was reading it? Why were they reading it? What's the picking on people situation? All the conversations you can envision having at your house. But then
happening.
I take my my very, very tightly focused lens and immediately pretend that kitchen table went something along the lines of, I hope you knock the book out of that little bleepity bleep bleep kid's hand and then stuff them in a locker, and I'm going to go and have this school written up, and then we're going to burn it to the ground and put giant red flags ringing the front of the school because no way. I got on a plane yesterday, and there was a man with a ball cap turned around so that the back of the ball cap on his forehead had the embroidered words, "Proud Boy." And he walked down the aisle of the plane past me, and I was so uncomfortable knowing that he was on the plane. I really started to strategize. Is there a way that I can get off this plane? Is there something that I can do to not be a part of this plane? Is he going to cause
trouble,
uncertainty and unsafety for everyone here? We were flying out of Atlanta. It was a majority not white plane. It was a majority people of color plane. And here he was a giant. He was not a skinny, scrawny.
So you're watching him like he's a ticking time bomb about to do something.
There was a guy on the plane with a dog. There were a lot of people on the plane that it's like, this was, what's going to happen? It started to feel like Hollywood, like your exit off ramp. It's like, this is not typically you get on a plane and it's people who are stereotypically in their lane and they just sit down and they shut up. And this was, okay, so the dog could cause a problem. The masks could cause a problem. The overweight people could cause a problem.
Those are the known problems, right.
The mix of races could cause a problem. The turbulence could cause a problem. The lack of peanuts. Like, I'm just starting to think, oh my God. And really what stuck out to me is...
the ignorance could cause a problem.
Really what stood out to me was the physical response that was immediate and difficult to tamp down. And I'm fucking on his air quotes team because he doesn't air quotes have a problem with me by sight.
Yeah, that's not a team any of us want to be on.
Imagine what his targets must have felt like on that in his day-to-day life, buying shit at Starbucks, the stewards and stewardesses taking care of him. I always think, how do you fucking walk around in the world? And how does everybody, it was just so gross because he immediately rankled me physically in such a way where I wanted the widest possible berth. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. And anything that if I was in a situation to have something to do with him, I would have over-polited myself. I would have made sure that we're not going to have any kind of problem. You're just going to go about your way. What I really wanted to do was not have his point of view on this planet. So it's a very weird response. Coming back to the book, full circle.
Well, for you, it is magnified because you're in this microcosm of the
bomb.
world, and
I'm in
you
a bomb.
and exactly
In the air. I'm in
to
a bomb.
quote, come
I'm in
from
a seat
away.
in the sky. I'm in
Yeah.
a bomb. There's no room
It
in
is
here for some
terrifying.
fucking crazy. Yeah. Anyway, to bring it full circle to Senior Crazy. Sorry, I don't know why I say that. It's to bring it full back to Mr.
Because who reads porn
Well,
in a
he doesn't
school
have to be a
board meeting?
senior. I mean, Latin people would not fucking do this because all Latin
that's
people
true.
are great. So, okay. So, we don't stereotype. So,
Okay, proud girl.
so he's there reading this, attempting to shame everyone, making people uncomfortable it would be uncomfortable, period, to read it in a classroom with the teacher going, let's all read about this sexual experience.
That's eyes to head. Yeah, it goes right from your eyes into your brain.
I feel like I want to read that at home maybe and not really with all of you watching. Don't make your eyebrows up. That's gross. So it's not
Read
that
it
kind
at
of
home.
stop it, subway porn. Okay, so he's reading it, right?
Yeah.
And then, do you want me to go on? And then, what is the school board? What are people even doing at this point?
That's the interesting part.
Because he had a platform that could not be taken away. So he could
Right.
go for his length of time. Senator,
It's
I
my right.
reclaim my time. Yeah.
Oh, I've used that twice so far.
Aw.
Yeah, I love it. As just a refocuser of I did it once when I was driving. I'm like, I reclaim my mind is how it came out of my mouth. Like, I see the dog leg of fear and cycling downward that you're doing, and I'm going to reclaim my mind. Focus, go straight, pull out of this crazy tailspin.
I love that.
So there's a point at the end of just logistically, there's a point at the end of the meeting where there's public comment and people get up and the school board does not have to answer. They get 3 minutes each to say something crazy, and without fail they do. And that's it. There is no reaction except for the fact that the woman who spoke after him, read the next 3 minutes of the book. So I got 6 full minutes.
So they were tag teaming it.
They were.
They had stacked the deck.
They did. And the guy before them said something about the book as well, so, which means to me that there was a dinner. There was a I'm sure no masks. There was a meeting where they all got together to talk about.
I bet they served floppy chicken.
I bet you it was semi-raw or crispy burned, one or the other. It's not perfect.
Well
so anyway,
done steak. Yeah.
They got together to discuss this book in another private platform where they agreed to all come out. So there were 3 of them. And then there was somebody who said, hi, guys, my name's Joni, because you have to say your name and where you live, right? Hi, I'm Joni. I live in blah, blah,
Crazy
blah.
town. Yeah.
And this one said, I want to let you know, I think you guys are doing a great job. You have a lot of stuff that's thrown at you, which is totally irrelevant to the job you're doing and blah, blah. I think the way you show up, don't get paid, take crap from people is amazing. You guys are heroes. And I was like, all right, let's not say heroes, but all right. I like her. There was 3
I'm
people
waiting for
to
a
support.
shoe to drop. Do I like
No.
Joni?
You
Did the
do.
other? Okay.
There were 3 people to support them, but they weren't crazy, so it had less of an effect. Does that make any sense?
Yes. Yes.
It's more effective to be batshit than it is like when I'm watching TikToks. I'm like, oh, that was sweet. Swipe, and then you see somebody throw hot soup in somebody else's face because blah blah blah. That gets your attention. That has you wrapped and checking to see what else that crackhead has done. I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be reversed, where the people who do the kind things and the people who step up and do the right thing get more attention and praise and
I agree.
are raised
It's
up.
almost at a point. This is probably adjacent to what you're saying, but it sounds like their attempt at shock and convert turned into sit and shut up. Right? It's like nobody really was interested in thank you and okay, your 3 minutes are over. And the comment is, and now we're moving on because of your irrelevance. So, I mean, I feel Like, that's even better than an hour-long debate that makes the news with Sally, Jesse Raphael out front with the microphone going, and here we are at the school board meeting, and what do you think? And what do you think? And thank
they
God for
could
standing
have.
up for these kids who are all heteronormative, because who's going to stand up for them if not for the entire globe of heteronormative people?
Exactly. But and they could have, because the facts that he gave weren't accurate. So it could have been a dialogue of, that's not even true. I don't know why you. No one engaged.
I'm not.
Sit down, Chuck.
I want to sidebar this, or whatever. I just broadened the conversation. I'm curious. What's your general philosophy?
More porn.
No,
sorry.
my truly, that's the question, because I'll couch it this way, and then you can respond to it if that's all right.
Yeah.
So my dear friend Sims, her husband has passed, God rest him. He was a lot older than she was, and he was dealing with lifelong chronic diabetes. So the combination didn't work out well for him. He was actually Robin Williams, one of his roommates in college at Juilliard. So, and he was in Aquarius. Anyway, he's a big Broadway dude, and he was here working at the very highfalutin conservatory college, and that was his professor. That was his sort of second act life thing, was teaching over there. So, as a consequence of their lives and their marriage, they never once, ever censored any of their language or any of their lives with and around their kids. So McCullough had the opportunity to see and say everything and go to the shows that were way adult and above, and read anything and listen to anything. It was in no way filtered.
Right.
What happened was the conversations around and after it were where the filtering came in. But the exposure was, I expose you to everything always. It was almost
Big
like
fan.
the broadest spectrum inoculation. Like, I don't know. Well, I'm not a big fan. I feel like I don't like the word gatekeeping. And I don't like throttling. I don't like any of that kind of stuff. And yet I do feel like there are some really long stair steps, and the step might be like when you're out in the field and they make the steps like it's a 5 walk step, and then you go up one instead of just a regular stair step. I feel like there's some platforms, there's some levels where developmentally you can ease into.
Right, you're not ready developmentally.
You can meter it out. So I'm moving this book and the conversation around it to the side, because there may have been a developmentally age-appropriate level of access to this information, in the same way that I don't want third graders looking at Fast Times at Ridgemont High of any sexuality, of any level of sexuality. It's not, I don't think that's okay. I don't think it's good. So are you on the Sims? And my friend's name is Sims. Are you on the Sims scale in terms of see it all, say it all, and let's just talk about it? Even if it's shocking and scary? I'm
definitely on a let's talk about it, but I'm on a let's talk about everything on your level of talking about it. No, this book specifically is in the high school, and it's for 14 to 18-year-olds. It's written that way. Girls
are in womanhood. There you go, Annie. Girls are in womanhood at that stage.
Right.
Boys are capable of procreating at that stage. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they can.
Remember I told you I sent my son to college with a box of condoms, and I said, if you're mature enough to have sex, you're mature enough to buy these condoms yourself. So I definitely feel like as my kids grew up, there was exposure, and all right, let's take Grease. I've told this story before, but when Mallory was like 7 or 8, we went to see Grease. I'm not going to shelter a child from Grease. Grease is the most fun first musical for any kid. And she said, Mom, things that would have gone over the heads of all of the other children, no, nothing has ever gone over Mallory's head. In her life, nothing has ever gone over. I've gotten phone calls from her kindergarten teacher that said, I'm really annoyed.
Oh.
And I was devastated. She said that we can't use sarcasm anymore in our classroom because your children, one after the other, because they're only a year apart, screwed us. Because, right. So when she said to me, what does it mean?
Their level of practice is too high.
Right. So when they go back and forth, the aide and the teacher and my kid, while during a handwriting thing goes about something they said, and they're like, oh my God, he got it. Like, that's fucked up that he's 6 and he just understood A higher level. Right. So she said, Mom, what does it mean that Riz has got a bun in the oven? Oh. Well,
wait for
okay.
the line about 4 minutes later where she says, "Lady with a baby, coming through."
Exact. Well, so she said that, and I'm like, honey, it's right in the middle of the show. Save your questions till the end. Was my answer. Save your questions to the end.
All will be revealed in Broadway.
Save your questions to the end. I'm not going to sit here and discuss it now, because then I think that's maybe when they said "Lady with a baby" as she went by.
Get in the oven. Yeah. Okay.
So we got in the car, and I said, "Hey, I know you wanted to talk a little bit during the show. Are there any questions that you had that I can answer for you?" No. She was over it, like it passed.
Yeah,
so
I needed that one resolved, and it's done. Thanks. Next.
So that one was over. But when it comes to her asking questions, I try, or used to, I think there's nothing my children don't know anymore, or at least they think that. I tried to answer questions on their level. When I had somebody who thought that oral sex was talking about sex with your mouth, like just talking about it, I was thinking, okay, if that's what this could be fine. Who are you talking to about this? Do you want to, it became, you are of an age, maybe it's time you know about certain things. Like, I don't want to be the one to tell you, but I will correct you if you're wrong, and I will meet you where you are, maturity level to understand. I know that a 13-year-old cannot handle what an 18-year-old can. I don't want a 13-year-old really reading that book and thinking, oh, I should be doing this.
Right. And so you've said it's appropriate for 14-year-olds. I mean, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because it is always a case-by-case basis.
Right. Each kid develops
differently. There are some 10-year-olds who are ready,
savvy as fuck,
and frankly, who desperately need this book for all that it contains, including, not the exception, including the passages that were read, with such titillating fanfare at the public forum.
That's right? What it was. It was titillating fanfare. I'll give you the link. And I want to tell you something. I think she took it down, but at the time, I had a child who made a TikTok that said, what the fuck gay book talk is going on at this school? Like, she just blew him out of the water. I think she took it down. But, when a 17-year-old looks at you as a grown-ass man with your objections at a school board meeting and says, you're an asshole. Like, what an ignorant asshole. You need to re-examine your life if you are being put in your place on the cheesiest of fun platforms. Shut the fuck up. Go home.
My other favorite part of all this, it's occurring to me as I'm listening along. Their intent in bringing
shock
this
and awe
to the school board's attention in this way was not to affect change. Their intent was to make sure that everyone knows they went on record as being against it. And those are two totally different things. If they wanted to affect change, they would have written a letter to the administrators and the library and put all this in there and said, I'm very concerned for these reasons, and I think this is something that we should discuss publicly at the school board in some such a way, and or here's what we want is this book removed or restricted access. And
or
none of that
put
came
behind
up.
the counter like the condoms
all they wanted was to have some sort of, neighbors and reporters
platform
to be able to see, we don't like EU. And that's not changing anything. That doesn't even get you what you pretend to want, which is to protect others from this kind of information, right? It's laughable. It's laughable. Good for you, Brian. While I was gone, the middle teen was here with a car by himself, manning the ship, taking care of go to school on Friday. His dad and the youngest were in Florida. I was in the multi-state jaunt circuit docket. Older brother was away at school. He was here. Get yourself to school, take the car, be here for the weekend, watch the dog. That's what he did. And he and his older brother concocted a plan for him to go pick him up at school and drive him home on Sunday. So we don't have to wait till next week, and we don't have to do that trip. And older brother dropped a dime on teen brother for driving too fast on the highway. So I win 3 times with this setup.
That's kind of amazing. Does Rocco not have finals, or are they virtual, or are
They were all done. He had requested
Oh.
a late checkout, which is what I call it.
Yes.
Friday was the absolute last day, and there was sort of like a big party happening on Saturday. So he was sort of like, man, I kind of don't want. I'm like, you're not missing that shit. We'll get you home. Figure it out. People live in Texas. They have ways that they make them stay here, right? So he had to be out by, I'm going to guess, the 15th or something. So with my schedule, I was like, yeah, I'll probably be getting you Tuesday night, something like this, because I can't do it any other time. And then he was like, well, what the fuck am I sitting here for? My party's over. So on Sunday, they used the think method, pooled resources.
I love the think method. I love it when teenagers use the think method.
I didn't think they had access to the think method, and they're master practitioners. So
do you know why?
Excited.
When they were in high school, they read all the books. That's why they have access.
Even the boys are not blue books. Actually, they didn't. I feel like, is that now? Do I have to get this book and like put it in the house somewhere?
I don't know. I just thought it was really. I thought it was really beautiful to represent non-mainstream and to let everybody know, or let anybody know. It's not even letting everybody know. It's letting those who need to know that you are not crazy. You are not different and wrong, and everything. Everybody's experience is different. Here's another one that relates so much more to you.
It's information. You're having urges. You're moving. Your body is moving into a state where it's telling you things that you need and that you will do. And then the question is, okay, but I am alone on a desert island. I don't know how to brush my teeth. I just feel that my teeth are covered in something, and this can't be how teeth are supposed to feel, right? And then along comes a book on dentistry, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for you.
The Art of Brushing, chapter 2.
I'm just trying to say, it's information about what your body is and how it works and how to care for it best, because other people, pro tip, have been there before. You are not alone on a desert island.
And you're not a pioneer at this. You're not the first. Come on.
So
learn from me. Don't reinvent the wheel. You'll be there a long time. You'll make lots of mistakes.
And
learn
P.S.,
from mine.
it isn't fair that everybody else around you is in the we all know how to take care of our teeth club, because we talk about it in ways that everybody talks about shit that you don't have. Like, that's just, I hate that. So, yeah.
And every TV show is all about the art of brushing your teeth and late night
if
brushing
you have
your
these teeth, right, not
There's
like
even
your teeth.
There's even Teeth Hub where you could go on there and watch.
Always with you. Always with you. And we're
rookies.
back. Good
Watch
night.
amateur teeth brushing.
Can I just say, I don't think I would feel a socio-emotional connection to the woman across from me on the subway platform reading porn. I don't feel like I would be into watching the blood rise in the cheeks and then staring in the face to say, I do see you, and I watched the whole thing, and also thanks and congratulations. I don't feel like that would be my go-to move on Tuesday night coming home from work.
Like she was wearing white socks.
You are some subversive delightfulness.
She was wearing white socks with Birkenstocks or
the
knockoff Birkenstocks, and
Okay,
her toes
so
were curling. I was listening to
Oh my
music at the time, and I had a newspaper in my hand, and I was like,
Yeah, you did.
what is happening over there? You go, woman. She was digging it, and I was
is nuts.
but I figured you can't just get into that for 2 stops. Like, she must be going all the way to the end of this, right? Because you can't pop in, pop out. You need to marinate in that situation. Most definitely.
I don't know that I would be whipping that shit out on a train either. I mean, I don't know. A busy after work train, but I'm not going to mention Jeffrey Toobin. I know it's an oft traversed topic here, but that maybe I was going to say maybe she needed a little release on the way home from her stressful work day. I don't know. Can't you wait till you get home? Or to like, aren't there porn closets in public places? Aren't we in Amsterdam? I don't know. I don't feel like I would have engaged in that way. I don't even feel like I could have watched it. Truthfully.
Oh, I dug it.
I probably would have been too embarrassed to watch it. I probably would have been like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I would have told everybody for the rest of my life every single second.
You know, my parents
Led with
never
it at
talked
cocktail
about
parties.
shit like that. I really feel like this freeness and this attitude came from what I didn't have growing up, and what my group of friends kind of opened a door
Don't rope me into this shit.
to a degree of comfort with your sexuality that I hadn't had before I hit college. Does that make me nervous to send my daughter to college? Fuck yeah, it does.
Oh, come on.
But I definitely think it can't. I was going to say it can't hurt. It absolutely could. All right. Somebody wrote us with a 30-second thing.
Are you kidding?
But I forgot what it was. So,
Oh my God. Well, I have consciously, you gave me the tip off. Don't go in the private club, because when you go in the private club.
That's where it was.
Don't go in the private club, because in the private club is information, people giving lists, suggestions, and I don't want you to be spoil spammed or whatever it's called. What is it called? What is it called when that happens?
A spoil sport, to have it ruined. Okay, I got it. You're right. That's exactly where it was. Thank you for not going there.
Okay.
All right. Who's got the 30-second
Contaminated. That's the word.
Is that the word you were looking for 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, I found it.
So
Hater.
I'm a lover, not a hater.
All right, I'm ready. I'm never ready.
All right,
Let's go.
I am opening up my timer on my clock app, which is what
Does
Mallory
opening the
calls
timer
TikTok.
give you agita? My body started to react a little bit. I'm like, ooh, timer. Quick, pulse.
Stopwatch. I'm just going to hit it for 30 seconds,
it.
okay?
Yes.
I want you, and I'm going to just do tick marks for each one that you get.
I'm not counting. I'm not watching the clock. I'm
You're not
answering
clocking
your
or
question.
counting. You're just shouting out answers.
I'm here to work for you.
Oh, my God. I'm so nervous.
I'm your work monkey.
It's hitting me. All right. Give me 30 seconds.
Yes.
Synonyms for female genitalia. Go.
Cunt, labia, slit, clit, vagina, vaginer, cave, hole, lips, love pocket, Mount Vesuvius, man in the boat, in flagrante delicto,
Stop.
Slip and slide.
Stop.
I don't have any. This was a better topic for you. I don't have any slang.
Man in a boat.
I don't have any. I don't have like pet names. Oh, cat! I should have said pussy. I hate that word. That's why it didn't come to me. That's so funny. That's the first one that everybody says.
I believe you got 13. I was laughing pretty hard. I believe you got 13.
My favorite is
30.
that my son is probably here on the first floor, and I now start
right.
shouting out with no context because he can't hear because you're in my cans. You're just in the headphones.
Oh,
So all he hears is me start shouting out X-rated, genitalia-based synonymery.
Synonymery. That one comes to us courtesy of Ms. Annie. Annie,
of course it does.
During a conference of some sort, she absolutely won this. Dear listener, if you would like to share both synonyms for lady genitalia, because I am all in. I've heard like hatchet, like never mind.
Yeah.
I've heard,
how about pussy? That would be like the number one.
That's like a top 3. In
coochie. How about choch? The chocha. How about that's it? I'm out.
It's the clock that fucks you is the point of this exercise. Let me tell you, we used to do when my kids were teeny tiny, 60 seconds at the counter. I gave them 60 seconds to use all of the words that they weren't sure they were allowed to know or use because I wanted to know what they knew or what their secrets were. So once a week, maybe, after being at school all week, they would sit at the counter at 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6, because again, 1 year apart, as they grew up. And then one day,
they gave you a list like I just gave you.
Yes. And I stroked the fuck out. I hit the floor. I'm like, and we're done with 60 seconds at the counter. You know them all.
Punani, tang.
You could have done it alphabetically, right? You just did all the P's right there.
Hump pad. I can't think of anything. I don't know what they
Mounds of joy. Mounds.
I don't spend a lot of time. I'm not like as Alaskan talking about snow. I don't have a whole lot of names for this. It's just the way it is.
That's a good one. Dear listeners, write in. It would probably be better if you wrote to brilliantobservations@gmail.com. But any way you want, write in and let us know. What? Do you want to write me directly? You could do that too.
How bad was it? Were you running the real ones in your head when I was sitting there failing?
No,
or were you so focused on the timer you were having your own level of fits and
You
shots?
absolutely get me. Okay. Wow, it feels good. I focused on nothing but the timer and doing little hash marks to say how many you got through. So I love this and hate this all at the same time.
Sounds like life. Let's keep
I'm
it up.
willing to stress out over the timer as long as I'm not the bitch on that side of it. So yeah, send us more. We love it. We want
and it should be things I know, really, because then I'll do better.
That's one of my favorite quotes from Clueless. Ask her questions
Think
after
she
got hit in the
knows.
head. Think she knows. What's 5
2
times
plus?
5?
Yeah.
Think she knows. Okay. Rolling with the homies.
That's right.
Yeah. So that is now my new favorite segment. Thank you so much, Annie, for sending that one in. And dear listeners, do not stop.
Oh.
Brings you joy. What brings you joy? I did that because of my friends and seeing them. And there's are there smells or sights that bring you joy? I'm going to wrap up with this because I want to know from our listeners too what brings them joy. Fresh cut grass smell, the sound when I used to wait with my kids for the camp bus to come pick them up. It was like early summer mornings. It's the smell of sunblock that's on my kids, the sound of the birds, and the thickness of the heat that's coming for the day. And then the smell of the...
there's something about the diesel engine that you hear in the offing. It's like, you know that it's approaching, and it can only be the school bus. And in your case, if it is the bus that's taking them away for 2 whole months of freedom, I can't imagine.
Oh, I meant day camp, just like the morning coming for day camp. Yeah. Oh, I hated when they took them away for 2 whole months. But that
you did
there's
not
that,
hate that.
No, I
you
loved my summer,
revisionist
but
history-er.
I cried every time. Maybe not the last time when they had a car with them.
You are a little attached. You cried when they came home and left you out of breakfast. That's what you cried over.
Yeah,
you crybaby.
I am a crybaby, especially now. I have another kid leaving in the fall. I have no idea where she's going. I'm pretty sure she hates me.
How'd she hate you now?
I don't know. Because she's picking tiny liberal arts colleges in the middle of nowhere, and I want her to pick a university somewhere near me and maybe a little less expensive. And when
I think you have the answer in the question.
And maybe when she gets money from a school and I get excited and she's still like, I'm not going to your alma mater. Drop it, bitch. I think.
Has she officially already picked and you're just pretending that she hasn't?
No, she hasn't heard from 75% of her schools.
So nothing has happened.
I know, which is the only reason I'm unplugging from this and just letting it ride until I'm not going to get upset. My new motto in life. I'm not going to get upset until I have something to get upset about. For example, last week they said it's going to be the worst, a terrible snow season here. And I
remember.
Got upset. And then I thought, I'm not getting upset until there's snow, until there's something to get upset about. So I'm going to disengage and fill the bunker with foods that will stay for all winter and never leave the house again.
Oh my God. The world is outside your house. You know this. You've ventured outside more than you think you have.
I have. Oh my God. I went to Connecticut. I didn't stop in those 4 hours on the way there or back.
The visit that you had to Connecticut was less people-y than the visit that you have to the farmer's market, the Amish market.
Not the way I do it.
Each week. Do they empty out the farmer's market and you get to shop it like the president when no one's in there?
I go first thing in the morning before anybody's there. I mean, I have problems. I know. I have dysfunctions. You don't need to remind me.
I'm not trying to change you. I'm trying to tell you that you're getting a lot of. I'm pointing out to you.
Yeah.
That the breakthrough that you've had about no, not here. No need for crazy. Right?
Yeah, right.
That same level of response can apply to all of your COVID life.
But I have to tell you, I do open up the gates a little, and then something happens to me like you had with your Proud Boys asshole coming on your plane. Like, I'm okay, I'm comfortable, I'm on a plane, I'm traveling.
But your body tells you this is a problem right now.
Yeah, there's a stimulus that happens, like that hat, or like a person coughing up a lung behind me in line, and I think, oh my God, I've got to get back to my vacuumed house. Like, I've got to get back to my tiny little pocket of safety. Meanwhile, my friends know this about me, dear listener, and while I was with Amy and my friend Crit and my friend Erin, they talked about peripheral exposures they've had, and then they all turned and looked at me like, is she going to freak out and run? Like, they definitely know me to be a flight risk. I'm going to say that. I'm a flight risk. So they all said, oh, I can't see this guy for 2 weeks because his kid knew somebody in school who had COVID and he was peripherally. And then everybody looked at me like, did you say the C word in this house? The password is exposure.
Flee. Yeah.
COVID. So I was like, I'm here. I mean, I'm not about to drive home. I'm fine. Give me another margarita. It'll be okay. And I
don't
survived.
understand. I truly don't understand the lack of comfort that you feel being fully up to the boosted tip-top inoculated.
I think now that if you intellectually, I could tell you I am protected as long as I will still wear a mask probably forever. But it's more PTSD. Like it's more, I've been so scared and I'm slowly coming out. Everybody just sprung out of their shell. I am not a Springer. There's no spaniel in me. I am slowly I'm turtling out of the shell to life again. Even though everybody's like, oh, that same guy at the school board meeting said, right outside of our town, nobody's wearing masks. COVID's over. No, it's not, you
That's
fucking
right.
moron. But again, nobody
Gay
can
teens
argue.
aren't a thing. Yeah.
Right. So I know listening and hearing and being educated on a topic is not always a good thing. Like knowing less, he's happier. Like he's just a happier person knowing nothing.
He's not happy. He doesn't know what happiness is.
I don't know. Yeah. He read that book. He seemed to enjoy it when he was reading it.
My Lord. God bless him.
I'm sending you a link of our school board meeting.
God bless him. God bless him.
With the time counter. Dear listener, I don't know.
And on that note,
dear listener, what brings you joy? Dear listener, tell us lists for Amy for 30 seconds, not 60 seconds at the counter.
And make it things she knows, because I really feel like I can impress you guys, and I didn't. I feel like I can do it. I can do it.
So you don't think it's the timer? So it's the timer. You could have.
No, I'm sure I have. No, I could diagnose all the reasons that I failed at this task.
You did not fail.
No,
you didn't fail.
Of course I did. What I'm focused on is I have to win at this task. So I have to ignore the fact that I failed it and do it again. Winning is winning. Winning is giving the perfect list. The enviably perfect list.
Dear listener, bring this to your Christmas dinner. While you're eating 7 fish,
I could do better than I did.
Everybody at the table to give you synonyms for lady genitalia.
And I will do better than I did. But the problem is once it's out there.
Beat 13.
But there is no secret game show airtight soundproof box. Once it's out there, everyone else does better, including me, with the knowledge. It only works.
Right. You could only
do
better now.
You can't do it twice. Right. It's only when somebody's like in their car and has not arrived. That's the only person who can compete against you and play again. Right?
Yeah.
Once you've done it, you're done. That's it. You get one shot.
Your friend, I don't know, let's say Greens Burrito is going to his Christmas dinner. You don't think nobody there is listening to our podcast? He can ask, give me in 30 seconds.
Yes. But it's in a party situation. Everyone wants to do it. And once it's been done once, you can't do it again.
Needs a different topic.
And then if you have a different topic, now it's not the same thing because you're not really comparing how people did because it's a totally different topic.
Yes.
Like if you would ask me types of oranges, I would have done so great. And I know there's probably only 5. I don't know why I don't know why I picked that category.
Go.
Sumo, navel, round.
Orange, yellow, red.
Tangerine, clementine, don't come at me because they're not the same. Shut it. Citrus.
Thank you for listening. We love you.
Florida.
Bye.
Seedless.